A guy who could become one of my favorite coaches is on with us today. As right off the top, been at least kicking the tires on having Steve Lutz on for the better part of a year. But these are busy people, these coaches.
Just a little.
These people don't work 1 hour a day like you and I.
Right.
They actually have jobs. And like I can only imagine, and maybe I'm overblowing it. He'll come on and talk to us about this in a minute. I'm always like, what I always want to know about coaches is their daily schedule, like during the season. Like, first of all, how do you even have time to do this kind of thing? For some reason, we talked him into it because we have a mutual buddy, and he's San Antonio's own. And so right off the top today, y'all, we have a cool guest. This is the men's basketball coach of Oklahoma State. It is San Antonio's, it's East Central's own, Steve Lutz. And it looks like he's joining us from inside the locker room. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Good. Steve and I have been going back and forth today trying to set this thing up, and it's worked out, and it's been a long time coming. And for you to do this in the middle of a season after a road game last night, man, I'm super appreciative. So thank you very much and appreciate that very much. All right. So I wanted to, this is not going to be the typical, let's talk about the game last night. We wanted to have you on. I'll be honest with you, because you're from here. so it's funny. I don't know how much you ever get back home, man, but San Antonio is a town where when you meet someone new, Rudy, the first thing you want to know is, where'd you go to high school?
Right.
Because we want to size you up, because that automatically tells everybody what side of town you're from. So Steve, when did you graduate East Central? What year was it?
I finished in 91.
Okay.
Oh, you're all right. Yeah, okay,
have
cool. I don't feel old.
Have you forgotten most of it?
Of
or
course.
Do you have fond memories? Or what stands out from your days as a high school kid way down here in South Texas?
Oh, no, man. I mean, fantastic childhood, and my experience in high school was great. I mean, I grew up, I didn't grow up near the school, right? I grew up closer to Brooks Air Force Base. So I was
got you.
Okay.
I was about 5 blocks from going to Highlands High School. I was about 5 to 10 blocks from going to Sam Houston High School.
Okay.
And so we landed right in that pocket of East Central. And it was probably a 15-minute drive, every day over to school.
Yeah. And y'all had good teams, man. And you were obviously, you wound up playing college ball. Did my buddy Russ, did y'all actually play together?
Does he actually know you? Does Russ Fox know you? He actually knows you, man.
Okay, I know he's not lying, or Steve wouldn't be on with us. He's probably, because Russ Fox, the GM of one of our sponsors, the roofing company, has been on my ass, Steve, for like a year and a half to have you on. And you'd only be here because of him. Tell me about Russ Fox, the high school basketball player.
Yeah, and to give him a little bit of credibility, yeah, I mean, we grew up best friends probably most of our lives, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we spent an enormous amount of time together. So it is all true. I do know he likes to elaborate on certain things, and he likes to tell stories. But this one is actually true. There was a lot of things that he and I got into during those younger years.
Oh, he didn't tell us any of that, Coach. And if he did, that's for off air.
No, let's make that on air. What are you talking about? No, that's
but I mean, in terms of a basketball player, he might be one of the most athletic guys in terms of running and jumping that we had in the program, and maybe even in the school. I mean, he's a 1-foot jumper, but like you could throw that ball, man, anywhere 6, 8, 10 inches above the rim, and he could go get it. Now, he's a very thin version of this person, but I'm going to equate him a little bit to you guys are probably old enough, you're like me, to know who Tom Chambers was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that I always thought that Russ had a little bit of that in him. I mean, he just wasn't big and thick and strong like Tom, but I mean, in terms of being able to jump, and if you gave him 6 inches on you, and he was gonna get you.
Well, I can tell you I don't know how much y'all talk anymore. I know for a fact that I don't. If I need to talk to him, it's got to be very important. So, because I know if I text him, he won't just text me back. texting Russ means he's going to call you. He's old school that way, and I got to be prepared to get sequestered on the phone with him if I send him a text.
Yeah, for sure.
I can only imagine how 18-year-old Russ was, because I know how 50 whatever Russ is. I can only imagine y'all had some good times.
Thank goodness there was no cell phones in camera phones back in those days.
Or TikTok or any of that business.
Yeah.
So Steve wound up playing, had a couple of college stops. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Correct the numbers if I'm wrong. Did you wind up spending 25 years as an assistant coach? That sound right?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
I did. Yeah. It was a long journey or a long process or however you want to say it. But I mean, I worked for some fantastic coaches along the way. So, I mean, I always credit those guys and thinking in my mind, like I'm lucky to be where I'm at today, but I would never be where I'm at had it not started with, Incarnate Word and Danny Casper directly out of college. I was fortunate to be with a guy like him because he was so stern and so demanding, and he was such an everyday guy.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't going to survive if you couldn't pull the weight with him every single day. And still to this day, he's one of the hardest workers I've ever been around.
Now, when you first started back Incarnate Word as an assistant, 95, and now we fast forward to now, obviously you love it. You don't do what you've done this long unless you love it. But just the different dynamic is when you came in to what we as the media and fans, cry and moan about as what college sports has turned into.
Yeah, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy.
Okay.
But hear me out on this one. So when you coach at Incarnate Word in 95 to whatever I was there, 99.
Yeah.
You were NAI and you transferred to NCAA Division II. And so you gave partial scholarships. All right. So let's say, for example, that I'm down to one scholarship between you and Mike. Right. And you're very similar players, but you were a really good student and maybe you qualify for a presidential academic scholarship and Mike doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, therefore, you're going to cost me less. So your presidential scholarship was a 2/3 deal. Well, I'm really going to give you only a third scholarship. Now I'm going to still have 2/3 scholarship left, right? So fast forward now to 2026, and you and Mike are still up for the same deal, but Mike wants $1 million in NIL and you only want $500,000 in NIL. So I'm still probably going to have to go with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's different, but it's the same. And I say this a little bit with tongue in cheek. When I was at Incarnate Word, I felt like a general manager of an NBA franchise.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And to this day, I feel the same way because it's constant mixing of numbers, or it's a constant, well, this kid I can get for this, which then would allow me to get these other two kids. It's just crazy. And so you don't always make the decision based purely upon who can help you win immediately. Now that obviously is still very, very large, a large part of it, but there's so many other factors in it.
Mm-hmm. We're joined by Coach Lutz, Oklahoma State. I know you have to have a relationship with the players, Coach, but do you just, when they come into your office and say, this is what I need, do you just send them to that department? Or do you have a sit down with them? I mean, because you got so much to deal with. Do you just say, hey, man, money's down the hall? It's crazy that you're sitting there telling us like, yo, well, this guy wants $1 million. This guy wants $500,000. Like, I wouldn't know what to do. Do you just send them down the hall or do you have a talk with them? How does that dynamic work?
No. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times there's an agent involved or there's parents involved or there's a coach involved. But you ultimately have to have the conversation with the kid and whoever the decision maker is, right? And, some universities have general managers and that sort of thing. But at Oklahoma State, we don't. You're looking at the general manager. So, if one of my assistants is recruiting a kid, and we've discussed it somewhat prior to them coming to campus, right? Because if you want $5 million, I'm not, and I can't pay you $5 million. No sense in bringing you to campus. I mean, I keep it a very business-like, a very black and white conversation in terms of the numbers. Now, obviously there's still the relationship piece and what should be the vision for their future, how they can help you in the playing time and how I'll be involved in your life the rest of your career and be there to help and mentor you. All that plays into it, but still it'll all boil down to, do I fit what they want financially? Right? It's always going to boil down to that. It's just like business. It's just like getting a job and being courted for a job.
Who is y'all's general manager?
He is.
Yeah, me.
He said, "You're looking at me."
You serve as the GM of Oak State basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sign off on any deal that I haven't discussed with the staff or I haven't vetted through what we have and what we're willing to offer. Mm-hmm. It all falls back on me. Guys, I've worked for 25 years as an assistant coach, and I finally get a Big 12 head job. I'm not going to just let some other guy that, is part of the program run my program. I'm going to do it myself. Like if I get fired in 5, 10, 15 years, I'm going to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I did everything I could the way I wanted to do it, and I did my best. And if it wasn't good enough, well, then so be it. You get fired.
I love that because we've talked about this lately where a lot of especially football programs, because you have so many kids, they all have GMs now. And fans don't keep up with GMs in college athletics. We don't know their names. Y'all are the ones that get all of the praise when you win, and y'all are the ones that get crapped on when you don't win. We got to start learning these damn general managers' names. We can start holding these people accountable because they're just flying under the radar. They have a ton of power. So it's nice that you run your own program. That's great. Great. Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, you look in the NBA, I mean, you have to think those general managers, they control a lot, and the Spurs is a great organization in that the head coach is involved in it. Like Pop was involved in the acquiring of talent through such a long time. And R.C. Buford has been there forever. And now you got Dave Tellup and all those guys, and they're such a family and they work together, but that's not the case. I mean, you watch some of these NBA teams and you listen to the president and the GM, or the president and the GM are fighting with the coach, and different people want different players. Like at the end of the day, my staff and we select who we want. And if we select the wrong ones, then shoot, it's on me,
Pop always said, he goes, you said earlier, y'all going to think I'm crazy. Pop has said over and over, you have to be a little bit off your rocker.
Got to be a little bit.
You got to be a little nuts to be a coach anyway. And then you fast forward to how this thing has morphed since you started this. It's almost like like AD and BC, where there's pre-NIL, post-NIL, these kinds of things. But no one spends 25 years as an assistant unless they just absolutely love it, maybe a little bit nuts. Did you always from day one have the goal that you wanted to be a head coach?
I did. Once I got into college coaching, I was hooked. And you probably have never heard the stories, but I wasn't a great player in college, probably because of my extracurricular activities, and I just didn't take it serious enough. Right. And it's just plain and simple. And I tell these guys all the time, don't make the mistakes I did. But when I got into the college coaching part of it, I was absolutely hooked. And so I knew I wanted to be a head coach immediately. And so you get presented with different paths along the way. And I was always a ground ball hitter, right? I never really jumped off the edge and just went 10 feet in on some crazy job. I always felt like be conservative with my approach, get with the right people, and everything would work out. And thus far, it served me well.
Big 12, the best conference in the country, Coach? Hands down?
Not even close. Not this year. It's not even close. Like last year, the SEC was unbelievable, but this year it's not even close. Yeah, it's the best league in the country.
What can you tell us about those Cyclones Saturday, man? That's a tough team.
Yeah, we played them there, and I don't remember exactly what we lost by. We might have lost by 11, but they're good. I mean, I really like their team. TJ does a good job. They're well coached. They're physical. Defensively, they just turn you over. Our team last year was very similar to their team this year in that we turned you over quite a bit. We generated a lot of points out of our defense. Right. And this year's team for me is not quite that sound defensively or that aggressive defensively, and that's hurt us, to be honest. But nonetheless, they're fantastic there. And then they've got, three really good players in Lipsy at the point, Jefferson at the 4, and I always screw his name up, Milanovic at the, 3 and 4. And all three of those guys are Big 12 quality players and all going to play professionally at some point. So when you have three really good players like that, man, you have a chance to put yourself in a position to win the league. And if you can win this league, man, you got a chance to win the dang title. You just did.
You said 3 and 4. Are there positions still, Coach?
Yeah, that's why I always have a hard time trying to.
Is there still? Are we playing positionless basketball in 2026?
Yeah, well, I still believe that certain teams, right, have centers, right? I mean, Purdue was great. They had an absolute center, right? I recruited Zach Edey, so he is an absolute center. But I think, whether you call, and use an Iowa State example, one of them the 3 and one of the 4, who cares?
Right.
Lipsy is their point. He brings the ball down the floor, and Iowa State has a guy or two that are absolute center, and then after that, it's all interchangeable.
How many schools deserve? They won't all make it, but you talk about how deep the league is. There's probably 9 schools that ought to go to the NCAA. Yeah,
I'd be surprised if we don't have 9 schools get into the tournament. I would be really shocked. Now, I mean, a little of this is going to be determined by, you look at, I'll use Central Florida as a good example, an RPI of mid-30s. But they're sitting in the league at, they're probably 2 and 4, maybe. Okay. Baylor's RPI was in the 40s, and they're 1 and 5 in the league. So It's just hard. It's hard. We're sitting at 2 and 4. We dropped one on the road last night, which was a killer because we led most of the game and had 7-point lead with 3 minutes to go. And that one hurts you, man. That one hurts you. You needed to win that one because you're sitting at 3 and 2 today with Iowa State coming into your place on Saturday. But we got to figure out a way to beat Iowa State now, to even it up.
I don't want you. I ain't trying to, coax you in any answer and get you in any trouble in the recruiting world. But what is one thing you would change about the landscape today? Give us an idea, because the media, we talk, fans, we talk, like we need to do this with the portal, we need to do this with NIL. What's something that you think would change, not change, but help our current situation that we're in that a lot of people have issues with?
Well, I don't think any of this is going to start without some sort of government intervention, right?
Wow.
If the NCAA is allowed to continue to be sued, they're just going to continue to take a back seat, and it's going to be chaos, right? So they've got to give them some sort of power, whether it's antitrust exemption or whatever, which I don't see that happening, but they've got to give them some sort of power. We've almost, with the Power 4 conferences, we've almost created a separate entity thus far, right? Yes. And so in my mind, the NCAA is going to either get some backbone and power, and that's going to be backed by the government or given some guardrails by the government, or the Power 4 conferences, we're going to break away. We're going to have our own deal, and then we're going to govern ourselves, which I can only imagine what that's going to look like. But the simplest answer, and I know I'm coming at it in a roundabout way, we have to do something about the transfer portal. Yes. Right? Whether we give them one free transfer and then after that you got to sit, because we've given so much freedom. These guys, there's just no, it's really, really hard to build a program and plan for the future and know what the heck is going to happen moving forward, because people can leave at a moment's notice. And so I think that you got to start there. But again, can you do that after you've already let the cat out of the bag? These guys have been transferring for a couple of years. So now you're going to rein them back in, and that makes it really hard.
Great point.
Steve, man, this town loves its own, as you know, and to have the journey you had, guys don't spend 25 years as an assistant. And then now you've got that logo on your shirt with all those legends and all that history. Congrats on the job,
brother.
2 seasons late because we've not met till today. And we will be fans of Oklahoma State basketball certainly as long as you're there, if not forever. So, man, thank you for doing this very much.
Hey, no, I appreciate it. I obviously love my home city and need to get back there more often, to be honest with you. But my sister, one of my sisters, is coming up with their family here in a couple weeks, and they're going to bring me some tamales. And
yeah,
the world will be right at least for a day or two. But the one thing we don't have in Oklahoma, guys, is we got very few breakfast tacos. It kills me. Now, it helps my weight, but it kills me.
Yeah, Stillwater's known for a lot of good times, but tamales are not one of those things.
And somebody in our chat wanted us to tell you what you did at Texas A&M Corpus was amazing. So I just wanted to pass.
Still a legend in Corpus Christi too. Yeah.
Hey man, that place was awesome. I loved it there. I tell my wife all the time that I wish we would have bought a house in Port A on the water and just kept it. One day I will. I'll be back down there. I can promise you that. But it for me, guys, and I know you got to go, but
no, you're good. You're good.
You're good. Perfect for me, man. Like, because I had been away and my father died in 13, and I get that job in 21, and my mom died in 23. So I got to spend 2 years with my mom. I would drive from Corpus to San Antonio to be with my mom every single week, and I'll never be able to get that experience back. And so the good Lord was looking out for me on that one. And then obviously being able to go to Corpus and being able to win there. And we played at UTSA my first year in a tournament. So my mom got to come back and see me as the head coach. Man, it was a special time for me, for sure.
Outstanding. All right. You got to beat Iowa State, because if you don't, they're going to blame us. That's just how things go when things don't go our way when we have a guest. So,
guys, they're going to blame me for something either way. No pressure. It's all good. It's all right.
We'll be watching. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Coach.
After a road thing, cool. It's cool of you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great evening.
You too. All right. Steve Lutz, Oklahoma State.